Thank you for joining us for Ask a Therapist, a Blue Cross Blue Shield of South Carolina series in which we speak with mental health professionals about issues many people face every day. Today, we are joined by Dr. Jennifer Heath, a child and adolescent psychiatrist and medical director here at Blue Cross. We are talking about teens and smoking. In recent years, there's been a decline in teen smoking, and then there was a rise with e-cigarettes and vaping. So what are the most common reasons teens start smoking, whether they're using vape pens or traditional cigarettes?
Sure. One of the most common reasons that teens start smoking is due to peer pressure. Teens are influenced by friends who smoke, whether it's cigarettes or vaping, and they want to fit in. They may perceive it as cool or a fun thing to do, or even then it makes them feel like they're older and, want to have fun with older kids. So that's a very, very common reason. Another common reason is teens will say that they're feeling stressed, anxious, or depressed, and that will lead them to trying smoking because they feel like that might help. Those are the main reasons. It could be they're just curious or wanting to try something new, and they don't really understand the risk of becoming addicted to it. So there are a variety of reasons, but peer pressure and then hoping to relieve stress and anxiety are the top reasons.
Is there like a common age at which teens typically start experimenting in this space?
They are starting to use it more at younger ages. So middle school is starting to be an issue in middle school. Most commonly, it's in high school, though. I think in high school, about 10% of high school students said that they have used e-cigarettes or vaped. And I believe in middle schools, about for almost 5% that have tried it. So, as young as 12, 11, kids are starting to be exposed to it and learn about
it. Do teens have a different view of like the e-cigarette versus a traditional cigarette?
Yes. Especially over the past several years, they have a more favorable view of e-cigarettes. The e-cigarettes have different flavors. They don't smell as bad as traditional cigarettes. The vapor from e-cigarettes is easier to inhale. So that's also a little bit different than if they experienced a traditional cigarette. They also, because of adults using it or because of marketing, they view e-cigarettes as a healthy alternative to traditional cigarettes. They don't really realize the potential harm. We'll kind of talk about that several times, but it's very much, they see it as something that's more acceptable and more popular than smoking traditional cigarettes.
But they do have the same effects, correct? Like the same health effects.
Yes, they still have the negative health, physical and mental health effects that smoking cigarettes can in the teenage years.
Are there certain groups that are more at risk of taking up vaping or smoking?
Sure. There's certainly certain risk factors for a teen to start smoking or vaping. As I mentioned earlier, those who have depressive symptoms or may be bullied are more likely to vape. Teens who are struggling academically or not doing well in school have less parental involvement or don't really feel the support from their parents or support at home. They're also at risk. One study even showed teens that have housing instability are at risk for using nicotine products. So there are a variety of risk factors that can play a role in a teenager starting to smoke. And of course, if they see other peers smoking or vaping, that's going to increase their likelihood of their friend group is doing. But I think it's also important to mention that there are protective factors against teens starting to vape. And that would be if they're part of a religious group, if they have like a strong racial identity, and if they have higher academic achievement, then that would help protect against starting to vape.
So those are factors that kind of limit the use, sort of?
Yes, right. If teenagers have those things in their lives, then they're less likely to use nicotine.
So earlier you talked about peer pressure, social pressure kind of being one of the reasons. How does that play a role in teen smoking, peer pressure?
Sure. As I mentioned, kids are more likely to start vaping if their friends are doing it. One study showed that most teens tried their first e-cigarette while they were just kind of hanging out with friends, and viewed it as a way to socialize. It can be seen as a popular activity and a way to maybe enhance their social image, and so they try it and they start doing it, and then they can easily become addicted to it. And I it's important to mention society and societal pressures as far as advertising. There's several different e-cigarette companies that have specific marketing campaigns to appeal to teens, make it seem safe, fun, harmless. The e-cigarettes are often packaged in a very kid or teen friendly way, and then they have such a variety of flavors that the teens really like and really enjoy. So it's very strategic marketing towards our teens that people are becoming more aware of and wanting to try to prevent.
Speaking of prevention, what can parents do to prepare their children for that type of pressure?
Sure. Creating like open communication early on, creating a safe place for their kids at home where they feel loved and accepted. In that process, you can teach your child to be assertive and how to feel comfortable setting boundaries, letting them know it's okay to say no and walk away to things that they don't want to do, helping to build their self-esteem, and having self-confidence as a teenager will allow them to make their own decisions instead of following their peers. And then I think also helping teenagers as they develop and get older, helping them define their values, learn critical thinking, decision-making skills, that can all help prepare for when they're in a situation where they might be faced with the opportunity to try vaping.
Earlier, you said that this can start as early as middle school. So when is a good time for parents to kind of start thinking about building some of those skills in their children? Should they start in middle school or should it start before that?
To start before that. As young as possible, start having conversations just about friends, what relationships are about, how to feel comfortable in groups of people. Definitely by 4th or 5th grade, starting to talk about, what's important in a friend, what's important in a peer group, that they have similar interests that you do, respect each other. You want to be able for your child to surround themselves with people who respect them, respect their decisions, and are supportive.
This conversation about mental health and getting help is incredibly important. We hope this discussion can help you or someone you know. Blue Cross Blue Shield of South Carolina members can call the number on the back of your insurance card for mental health resources. We hope you'll join us again for our next Ask a Therapist podcast.